All right, so we'll just start with so we're here with Maddie Denton of East Nash Grass, and Maddie, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
I think the kind of obvious first question is the name East Nash Grass. How did that come about?
Well, it's kind of a tongue twister. I had to practice saying it a few times fast before I could get it. But that came out of our banjo player, Corey Walker's brain. Uh, I don't exactly know the story even. That was before I was in the band. But that was Corey Walker's idea, East Nash Grass. And there's East Nashville kind of has a vibe, and there's West Nashville. It has a different kind of vibe. And Nashville is, of course, a town for musicians, and specifically, country and bluegrass. Call it country uh, music city. Anyways, we all lived on the east side of town, and we were playing bluegrass, and we came together, and so East Nash Grass it was.
And you came together as the house band at D's on Monday nights. Now,
That's
was that
right.
kind of like as the house band for a jam, or just playing together?
Just playing together, and we've had several different configurations of East Nash Grass. Uh but the one that we pretty much settled on was after our first album, and we have a different bass player now than we did in our first album, but the five of us, myself, Harry Clark, Gavin Largent, Corey Walker, and James Key, have been pretty much the consistent members of East Nash Grass for several years now, since about 2020. The Jeff Saunders played bass on our first record, and he was a big part of our sound then. And now we've got Jeff Picker, so different Jeff. um, but when we first started, well, East Nashgrass was a thing before I was in the band. I joined about 5 years ago, but we've been a band in various configurations at D's Country Cocktail Lounge every Monday for 6 years now. We're going to do our 6th-year anniversary celebration next month. So another big party.
And what led to the transition from just being the bar band to being a touring act and recording act?
Well, when we had started on our record, our first album, right about the time that things were shutting down for COVID. And we safely got together and finished that record, and we just really liked what we had come up with, and it came together naturally. And we listened to it, and we said, man, what can we make of this? And so now we're just continuing to try to make something out of it. We've put out another record now, and I guess it's probably about time to start thinking about album number 3.
Now, how do you guys find the time with all the other projects you're all involved in? Uh, with Dan Tominski and everything
Right.
else that's going on.
Right. Well, we've all at various stages been involved with multiple bands, and matter of fact, as we speak right now, Corey is out with Jason Carter, and we're gonna meet him at our next gig.
I
Which is
think I saw Corey with 4 or 5 different bands this summer.
yes, yeah, he plays with Tim O'Brien also. And yeah, we it is a balancing act. I was a high school biology teacher for 5 years before I retired, and to pursue music full time. And we've all just come together and decided that we're gonna do what we can to make this work. And so we just we talk through everyone's schedules, and we do what we can. It's starting to come together. It's really it's feeling like things are really starting to gel and come together, and everybody's getting on the same page and moving forward. So that's a really good feeling.
How did a high school biology teacher and you were, like a state fair fiddle champion, and I mean, a wholesome country girl like Maddie Denton fall in with these hooligans?
Well, gosh, honestly, I'm just glad that they'll put up with me and have me because I came from a contest fiddle background, as you mentioned, and there's it's kind of a weird, those are two worlds that you would think would be very similar and aligned, but it's a whole new mindset to go from being a contest minded to like what's my role in a band. And I'm also an only child, so that's kind of a double whammy against me in the I can be a selfish musician person. But I just really, they've been patient with me while I've figured out what my role is. And in the contest world, it's all about you as the fiddle player, and everybody's listening to you, and you've got maybe four guitar players that are there to back you up and like lift you up. And in the bluegrass world or in a band setting, it's not about you anymore, and sometimes that's difficult to remember. But it's a different mindset, and I just I'm just honored to be there, really.
Are they as much fun off stage as they seem on stage? I mean, it's just the kind of quirky
Absolutely.
personalities.
We do have six very different personalities, but very similar personalities. It's everybody brings their own uniqueness to this band, and they are absolutely who they are on stage, off stage as well. Absolutely, if not more so.
So the new album, how do you, with six members, how do you decide whose stuff is going on the album?
I think everybody really just trusts each other, and that's really important. We all respect each other personally and musically, and we trust that nobody's going to bring a song or an idea that the rest of us aren't going to like. That's proven itself time and time again, and we just kind of, we've been playing together for so long now, and we just kind of, I guess we know what to expect with everyone, and everybody just everybody brings something personal, but that's also good as well. So it's a trust and respect thing. We just kind of know that the other folks are going to bring something that's good.
Well, let's talk about the new album, and of course, it just came out in August. Uh, the first song on the album, you start off with something by Christian Ward. Tell us who is Christian Ward, because he's got a second song on here as well.
I think he has three, actually, three at least that had a hand in. He might not have written it by himself, but Christian is a wonderful fiddle player. And every time I get to jam with him, I just have to, hold my fiddle for a second and just listen. He comes up with some really, really great ideas, and I'm a big fan of his fiddle playing, but also his songwriting. He's great with chords and great with lyrics, uh, and he's a good friend of the band as well. And Harry and Corey and Christian have gotten together and been writing some tunes as well. and it's just been really cool to hear what they're coming up with. But Christian has worked with Jared Walker, which is Corey's brother, who plays mandolin for Billy Strings, and Billy has cut some of Christian's tunes with Jared, and one of which being Red Daisy, that got Song of the Year last year at IBMA. So Christian, not only is he a great fiddle player, but he's a great songwriter too. And he also wrote our liner notes inside the album. He came up with some good stuff to say in the liner notes too.
Last chance to win, last chance to win. I've gambled it all, boys, it's my last chance to win. Well, the wood's too wet for burning, wood's too wet for burning, Lord. I lost my hat to the howling wind, ain't coming back again. Last chance to win, last chance to win. I've gambled it all, boys, it's my last chance to win.
Almost told her. Has James talked at all about the origins of that song?
That song came from a story that our friend Jeff Burke told James, I think. And Jeff helps out a lot with Dee's Lounge, where we play on Mondays. I'm not exactly sure what his job title over there is, but he does work at Dee's. And he was telling James a story about I guess like a boomer male that just couldn't. He really loved his lady, but he couldn't ever tell her, and he ended up losing her, I think, just because he couldn't ever tell her that how he actually felt. And it's just about the struggle to communicate, well, your feelings, and being like you almost told her, but just not quite. So that story was based on it is based on a true story. And I have seen a photo of the person that it's based on. I don't know what his name is, but it is based on a real person that couldn't tell her so. Almost told her so.
If she knew for sure I loved her, would she be gone, just traveling on to where I cannot see her, where I cannot tell her? Almost told her so. I almost told her so. I almost told her.
Corey doesn't get a lot of the credits. It sounds like the way you're talking, like he's involved a lot more in the background of writing with everybody. But
Right.
East Due, West Blues.
That's right. Corey helped write that one with Christian, and that's it. The first line, old man always there by the window, tell me what you see. Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but Gavin sings it, and it is about a man that sits on the corner of East Due West Boulevard, or Due West. Yeah, it's a road. It's a road in Madison, and he sits there, and we just have always kind of wondered what he was thinking, because he sits there every day. And then Corey and Christian wrote a song about it.
Old man always there by the window, tell me what you've seen passing by. Cars on the road and traffic's rolling, summer sun's in my eyes. Cracks in the sidewalk, nothing left to do. Finds me round that road, east to west.
So yeah,
Not the
Corey,
same, not the same guy that's on the housetop in the next song.
that's right. Different, different guy. Man, I guess we're
Is
just
that inspired by anybody in particular?
Papa's on the Housetop is a Leroy Carr. So this one is one that we covered. Harry found it. Um, just a guy playing stride piano from the 20s or 30s, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what year the recording was from, but it's an old recording of, he just one man singing and playing just stride type piano. It's a blue, it comes from blues. And Harry heard that and thought, wow, that would be a really cool tune for us to work up. And we already had been doing some Western swing type stuff because that's kind of more my background. And those are the songs that I like to sing because I have a lot of like Bob Wills type influence. So I had brought some Western swing stuff to the band. And so that one just kind of fit in really naturally. It was a good choice to cover. So Tim O'Brien also actually covered that Papa's on the Housetop, but we didn't find that out until we'd already recorded it. So, oops.
Oh, the blues they come, nobody knows where the blues come from. The blues they go, everybody's happy when the old blues go. Babies in the cradle, brothers on the town, sisters in the parlor trying on a gown. Mama's in the kitchen messing all around. Papa's on the housetop, he won't come down.
When we talk about things you've brought to the band, what was the inspiration behind the instrumental that you wrote, Jenna McCall?
That one, we didn't have an instrumental on the record. We had been in the studio for a couple days. We only spent a few days actually in the studio on this project, and we had recorded most of the songs already, and we didn't have an instrumental, and the guys were talking about needing one, and I absolutely think that we needed one. I love an instrumental. So we were coming back. We were on the road coming back from a festival in Wisconsin last year, driving, and it was my shift driving, and they were talking about how we didn't have an instrumental on the record, and I started thinking about melodies, and that one kind of came to me, and I tried not to forget it as we drove. And then when we got back to the house, I tinkered around with it and hit record on my voice memo, and then the guys liked it, and I was proud that they liked it, and they came up with some cool chord changes and substitutions. So it was kind of a team effort, but I came up with the melody for sure, and then they added some chords that I probably wouldn't have thought of. So
Where did the name come from?
well, if you've ever been to Madison, there are so we play at D's on Monday, and D's is kind of in the backyard of McGaw's Donuts, which open at 3 a.m. hot and fresh. And if you go there enough, the guy will remember your order. And Jenna's Toy Box, which is a nice little adult store that D's sits in the back parking lot of. So I just thought I'd tip my hat to two Madison staples.
How could I love her so much? That was James sings it, and Hugh Moffat is
Hugh
that-
Moffat. Yes. So I had never heard that song before. We played a gig at the Station Inn, and I can't even remember if it was an East Nashgrass gig or someone else. It wasn't this current configuration. I remember that for sure because we had one of our previous guitar players, Jason Owen, was on the gig, and Jason sang the tenor part to this song that I'd never heard of, and it was kind of had this cha-cha thing at the beginning, and then I really liked the chord progression, and I was like, man, we gotta do something with that. That was a while ago though, and we kind of forgot about it. And then we started working it into our shows with this current configuration, and we weren't going to record it, and I don't remember why, but it hadn't like made the cut for consideration to be recorded. And I said, hey y'all, like, why don't we just take 20 minutes and record it a few times and see what happens, and if we don't like it, we don't like it, but let's just, I mean, we've played it at our live shows so much and the audience seems to enjoy the song, so maybe we could put it on the record. And then we cut it, and we ended up, everybody really liked it, so we kept it.
Tell me, how could I love her so much and then lose her so quickly to someone like you? How did you know how to hold her and please her? How did you know what to do? After all of this time I spent learning to love her, be what she needed me to. How could I love her so much and then lose her so quickly to someone like you?
Finally get to hear you sing
Yes.
When You Come Home.
When You Come Home, that was written by my good friend Theo Macmillan, who has a band with his sister Brenna, Theo and Brenna band, and I play fiddle for them when I can. And but I've been playing with those guys since 2018, and they are just some of my best friends on the planet. I love those guys, and they're both awesome songwriters. And I recorded a solo project in 2020 that released in 2021, and I for some reason didn't have access to this song to put it on my solo album, but when I was doing my CD release party at the Station Inn, I was looking for new tunes to do, and Theo was like, hey, would you want to do this song? And I said, absolutely, I love that. And so it started out as a song that I was gonna just use for myself, and then nothing really happened with it, and I was out of money to put out a second record because the first one cost so much. But and then East Nashgrass was like, hey Maddie, what can you provide for this album? And I said, you know what, Theo, like, let me have this song, and I'm sure he would let us record it with East Nashgrass, because he comes to the shows on Mondays sometimes, and he's a good supporter of ours. So I knew that when I asked him if he would mind, I knew what the answer would be. So, and I appreciated him letting us record it. And he came and sat on the front row during our CD release party at Dee's the other day and made me a little nervous. But it's because it's an honor to sing someone's song just anyway, but especially when they're sitting right there in the front row with their phone recording. But yeah, it was cool to put that one on there, and I really liked some of the harmonies that Gavin and Harry came up with. This one is kind of, if there is an outlier on the record, it's this one, because it sounds more kind of pop influenced, and the harmonies, the stacks of the harmonies remind me kind of the Beach Boys a little bit. So there's some pop influence on this one, which I think is kind of nice. It's nice to break it up a little bit, but it is kind of the outlier of the record.
You can run for a while,
on your own until you find that you've been looking for the wrong thing all along. I'll be waiting, watching the road when you come home, when you come home, when you come home.
Well, Starlit Eyeless certainly is not an outlier. That's kind of a rip roar, and
It's a
Harry.
banger.
What's the story behind that?
So that is a Harry Clark song, our mandolin player. And actually, Harry used to play on the first record. Harry played guitar and James played mandolin, which is an interesting thing to bring up, that those two guys have since swapped instruments. They're just both so multi-talented that they can just show off and do that. But yeah, so that came out of Harry's brain, and I guess he had met a waitress somewhere and her name was Starlit Iris, and that name just, he was like, man, that's a very bluegrassy name, and it kind of just stuck with him. And then he wrote this song, and it took him, this was one of those songs, I can't ever seem to come up with a song like this, but I know that they exist, where it just comes to you and you have it done in like 20 minutes. This one, just Harry just kind of plucked it out of the air and came up with it, and it's a great song. It's simple. It has maybe 3 chords, maybe 2. But simple melody, simple chords, and which is kind of the theme of the album, I think, is just trying to keep it maybe more on the simple side, but seeing how musical we can, seeing what we can do with simple bass line and simple foundation, and then building on that. And that kind of came together on the record without us even really speaking that. That was just the songs that people brought were just kind of simple. And good and well written, and Starlit Iris is absolutely no exception. It's one of my favorites on the album, if not my favorite, if I'm allowed to say that. Am I allowed to say my favorite?
You're allowed.
Oh, Starlit Iris, black lily in the snow. I'll think of Starlit Iris most anywhere I go. I left her of an evening and I ended up downtown. The whiskey overflowing, I began to pour it down. The sky is dark and the moon is bright to the ground, all covered in snow. I'll ramble around this valley town with no place left to go.
Magic City Gray, another Christian Ward, and I guess this is another Madison-inspired song, right?
Well, I love to think that it's Madison inspired, but Christian actually lived in Birmingham for a little while, and Birmingham is technically Magic City. And he wrote, this was a Christian and Jared Walker song. But this one, it is, I think, technically referencing Birmingham, but man, Magic City Gray, that exemplifies Madison so much, and just Nashville in general, because Nashville does seem like a place of it is a place of opportunity and, like magic, but it's also, there's kind of an overshadowing gray that comes along with it. And especially physically in the winter, when there's, it's never sunny and just gray all the time. Maybe more so here than in other places, but maybe not. Maybe it just feels that way. But but it's a place of opportunity and magic that's also overshadowed a little bit. It can be a tough place to live and have success in, certainly. So
Magic City Gray in the windy haze, but night still shines. So if you see me passing by, don't worry about me, I'll be just fine. I'll try to change my baby's mind, but
That's why I'm lonesome all the time.
Bill Anderson song, Slipping Away. Who picked that, and how did that come to be on the album?
Gosh. That's a great question. I don't remember who first brought that song. But we played it, the harmony, I think, is what really stuck out about that song, and the way that, because Harry sings the tenor part, and it's James singing melody, singing lead, and Gavin sings the baritone, and their stack on the chorus is just so bluegrass. That's the most traditional grass song on the album. And we played it actually at our Ryman debut in 2022, when we got to open for the Earls of Leicester last year, at Bluegrass Nights at the Ryman, which was such a cool experience. But Kyle Cantrell was in the audience, and he made a point to tell us how much he enjoyed our version of that song and that we should record it. And so we did.
Monday's promises to be lying, Saturday's party, Sunday's fine. Something's wrong with you and I. Love gone wrong, it used to be right. And I can feel it slipping away, slowly slipping away. It'll be gone in a few more days if we don't stop this love of ours from slipping away.
And that is one of the things I think about your band that really stands out is the harmony vocals. You have 4 people that all at one point or another on this album sing lead, and
Yes.
So when the harmony just seems to blend, is that partly from just playing together so long?
I think so. And, I will give Dan Tominski a huge amount of credit here, because Harry, Gavin, and I have all been singing with Dan, who, gosh, I mean, one of the greatest voices in bluegrass, or, at all, in my opinion. He's just a heck of a singer. And working with him has really shaped up the 3 of our vocals. He, especially just for myself, I'll just speak for myself. He changed the way that I sing and just molded it and helped me get so much better vocally. And I just owe a lot to him for that. And learning to blend. And I just think I just owe Dan a lot, for helping my overall musicianship, absolutely, but especially just vocal quality. So the 3 of us, and then James has this like country, he's smooth voice, and then the rest of us have kind of different qualities, but it just works. And we've been doing it for a long time now, and again, we just kind of know what the others are going to do. So, and it's cool to be in a band that does have 4 lead singers at varying points within the show. And I think that is something that we can build on, and it's a good thing.
You closed out the album with Railroad and Gambling, Uncle Dave Makes and Macon, and kind of another rip roar. Was that on purpose to go out fast like that?
Well, Corey found that song, and that one kind of holds a special place in my heart, because Uncle Dave Macon is from my hometown, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So that's kind of my connection to that song. But Corey just heard it and immediately thought, Gavin needs to sing this. And we didn't know that we were going to put it last. We didn't have any idea what order anything was going to go in. And when we were sitting down to think about it, it just kind of fell together that we could start the album with Last Chance to Win, which has a fade in on the front. It kind of fades into our Last Chance to Win, and then Railroading and Gambling fades out at the end. So it's kind of the bookends, the fade in and the fade out. But yeah, we love that song, and we love to close the show with it at live shows. Either that or Kitten and the Cat, which was from our first album, that the radio is still playing, and we appreciate our friends at Sirius XM for playing both of those songs.
Cars on the roadside, cars on the track. Spend all my money, no way to get back. Railroad and gambling, picking up chicks from Mammal all along. Take your feet out the sand, stick 'em in the mud. Take your feet out the sand, stick 'em in the mud. Take your feet out the sand, stick 'em in the mud. Take your feet out the sand, stick 'em in the mud. Picking up chicks for Mammal all along.
Yeah,
What's
such a
ahead
weird-
for East Nash Grass? Aside from award season coming up, and you and Gavin both up for the Momentum Award, and the band up for Newcomer of the Year or New Artist of
well,
the Year.
Yeah, Gavin's up for Momentum Instrumentalist.
But you are too, aren't you?
I'm not. I actually received that award in 2021.
I misread the website.
Well, maybe I should go check on that website. No, and Harry won it last year.
Last year, yes.
And then Corey won it several years ago. I don't remember what year he won it, but yes, but the band is up for New Artist of the Year, and that was unexpected and very cool.
And
So we're honored to be up for that.
so what's ahead for the band?
Well, we are really looking forward to this weekend heading out to the Thomas Point Beach Festival. I love that festival, and I intend to get in the water because it's there, and I like to get in the water when I go places, because being landlocked in Tennessee, if there's an ocean, I want to get in it. But so after that, we've got Picking in the Pines Music Festival in Arizona, and then we're going to be going out to Colorado to play the Wildflower Pavilion, which is put on by Planet Bluegrass. And then we're very excited to go to Billy String's Renewal Festival. Billy's having us out there, and that's hopefully we'll get a lot of new fans out there, and maybe hit a little bit of a different scene than what we've been. So just kind of looking to expand the folks that have access to East Nash Grass. And then of course IBMA after that. So
And in the
September's
meantime,
big.
most Monday nights in Madison.
That's right. Most Monday nights, if we're there, if we're in town, we're at D's. So
Maddie, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
thanks for having me. Thanks so much.
Thank you.